Welcome back, travel fans. I'm Morgan from the very unofficial travel guides. I travel all around the world to popular and not so popular tourist destinations to give you a very unofficial look at what it was like to be there. And sometimes I say I make the travel mistakes so you don't have to. This week's Sunday Sofatime is about exactly one of those days. Welcome back again, everybody. I know I said that again, and I'm happy you're here, and the story I'm going to tell today is a story that some of you already know. I've been doing this Sunday Sofa Time for quite a while now. There's been quite a few Sunday Sofa Times, or I was thinking about when this happened, and I thought, I won't do a Sunday Sofa Time about that because I already made videos about this, but I realized that a lot of you are in a way sort of new here. And I know that a lot of you watch my videos every week, but maybe you haven't watched videos that were posted before you started coming here. Do you know what I mean? So I'm gonna tell this story again, and I'm gonna tell it as I remember it now without watching the videos that I made back then. So it'll be an interesting contrast because when I'm done talking to you guys right now, I'm gonna go back and watch those videos to see if I remember it like it really happened. And you can do that too. I'm going to link the videos in the description below, like a good YouTuber always does. This story takes place on St. Thomas, which is an island between Florida and South America. How's that for a description? I visited St. Thomas on the very first cruise I did on my own, and that was on the Harmony of the Seas, which at the time I think was the biggest cruise ship in the world. And there were a lot of things about that cruise, about that vacation that I was really, really looking forward to. And maybe one of the things that I was most looking forward to was spending an awesome, relaxing day hanging out at Magens Bay or Magens Beach on St. Thomas. I had done some research before I left. I looked at the ports that the cruise was visiting. I looked at the suggestions. Sorry, that was my watch, you guys. I looked at the suggestions of what other people were saying were good things to do, and I always prefer a self-guided excursion over a tour-guided excursion, and so many people said that Magens Bay or Magens Beach is the most beautiful on St. Thomas. And so that is what I decided I was gonna do when I was there. And another thing that a lot of people wrote about was to take water shoes because there are rocks submerged under the water. And I did that. I remember the day that I went to the store and I bought these, really thinly soled, like scuba shoes to take with me specifically to Magens Bay, so I didn't have to worry about that. Fast forward to the day that I was there. All right, I woke up that morning and packed my little beach bag, and I was excited, had my GoPro charged, had my telephone charged, had everything was set up to be a perfect day. I was one of the first people off the ship. I knew exactly where the taxi was that was gonna take me there. Yeah, I got there, and the first thing, there's one thing that I don't remember if I talked about it in the videos, and I'll see when I watch them again after this, is the first thing that was sort of weird about the day was I was in one of these group taxis. I wasn't in a private taxi. It was one of these minivans with 18 people in it or something like that. And when we approached Magens Bay, we were stopped, and everybody in the bus or the van had to pay a fee to get into the beach. And I think it was like $5. I mean, that was something I wasn't expecting. I hadn't remember reading about it anywhere. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's not that non-typical. But I was filming at the moment that we stopped, and it was something I thought, okay, this is something I need to tell people about in the video, so I must have included it in the video. Or actually, no, I probably didn't. And here's the reason why. It's because the woman who was collecting the money got really mad at me for taking her picture without asking her. It was an uncomfortable moment for me. She was like, "Did you just take my picture? Did you just take my picture?" And I was like, "Sorry, I'm just making a video of the whole experience. It's just for my friends." And she's like, "You can't just take people's picture without asking them. Erase that. I want you to erase it right now." And I was like, it's, the GoPro I was using at the time had no no screen on the back, so there's really no way to like erase a certain clip. And I was like, I'm sorry, I'll stop. I won't take any more pictures and I won't use this. Thankfully, then she just ignored me because I was worried that she was gonna be like, well then give me the card. I want you to take the card out of the camera, it's mine now. That was how it began. Then we got there, got out of the bus or off of this, now that the more I think of it, the more I wanna say it was kind of like an open Jeep style seating arrangement. So got out there and it was warm, the small waves were crashing in, and I thought, all right, I know exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna head over to the little restaurant area and buy me a cold beer and a piece of pizza, and I'm gonna find a nice place on the beach and just sit down and have my beer and my pizza and relax. And the first part of that worked out fine. I got a beer, I got a piece of pizza, and then I went looking for a nice place to lay down. And because I was warm and because I was just really excited about, that whole ocean feeling, I decided I was gonna walk along the beach in the water. So not like on the sand, like in the water. And that was the moment that I realized that I didn't bring those water shoes, which I bought specifically for this beach, with me. I left them sitting next to the chair where I packed my backpack in my virtual balcony cabin on the Harmony of the Seas. And if I think about it, I'll put a link to that video in the description below as well. So I was immediately very frustrated because I was like, ugh, how could I have forgotten these shoes? But I thought, I'll just be careful. There's a lot of other people running around through the water. Nobody seems to really be, careful. A lot of people do have these shoes on. Some people don't. I'm sure I'll be fine. Ha 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 ha, says the universe. So I put on I didn't put on my bathing suit. I had it on under my shorts, but I did take off my shoes and my socks and I put them in my bag and I walked out about knee height into the water and I was like, oh, this is so nice. Because the sand was really nice and sandy and the water was kind of warm and I was just like, this is the life. And so I'm walking in the ocean. I had the beer in my backpack. I'm eating my piece of pizza as I'm walking through the water, and there were some rocks, and I saw that they were there, and so I walked very carefully over them, but while I was walking over them, and I was way over at one side of the beach by now, while I was walking over them, I tripped, and I came down with it was my right foot, right? I don't even remember right now. I'm gonna have to watch the video again. I really don't remember. I'd have to take off my socks to really see right now, but I'm not going to do that. I came down really hard and I didn't immediately look at my foot. I just was like, ooh, that hurt. Dang. I actually thought meaner words, but I'm not going to say them right now. And I kept walking, and I kept walking and walking and walking, and then I realized that the bottom of my foot on a specific point felt kind of strange. How if you stub your toe or something, it hurts for a while after that, but it's actually fine. So it was kind of I don't know how to describe it, but eventually I got to this area where there was sort of a rock formation, and I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna sit down there and take a look at the bottom of my foot. And that's where I realized that I had a gash that big in the bottom of my foot. And if you watch the videos I made back then, you will see it very clearly. So just a little warning. Yeah, I sat down on the rocks, looked at this gash on the bottom of my foot that was basically dripping blood. And, there's all sorts of things wrong at that moment. And then I started debating, okay, what do I do now? Do I stay here? Do I just ignore it? Do I just walk it off? Is this really a big deal? And I was like, okay, there might be, a first aid station back at the beach or something. If I have to pay to get onto the beach, there must be some kind of services they're providing there. But I figured, probably the best bet would just be to go back to the ship real quick and have the ship doctor look at it. But I thought, you know what? I'm just gonna observe it for a few minutes and maybe it's gonna stop bleeding and it'll be fine. Because one thing that I was thinking of is this is like the ocean and it's warmish water, and if I've got like blood streaming out of my foot, that might attract some predators. That was honestly something that I was thinking. I was like, I don't want to be in the ocean with blood coming out of my body. You know what I mean? So I sat there for a while and then I realized that it is not stopping bleeding. It's still hurting, and that I can see the skin is, like open like that. And I thought, okay, screw this. I'm going back to the ship. And that's what I did. And I was hoping that I was just gonna get in the taxi, jeep, bus, van thing, whatever it was, 20 minutes back to the ship, get onto the ship. It was still early in the day. It was maybe like 10:30, 11 o'clock in the afternoon or in the morning. And I thought, all right, and then I'll go to the doctor really quick. He'll take a look at it. He'll say, don't worry about it here. Let's put, a waterproof Band-Aid on it or something, and you're fine. And then I was going to get immediately back off the ship, get into the taxi, van, bus thing, and go back to the beach, and then start my day where, continue my day where I finished. But that is not what happened. Because when I got to the ship, I went immediately to the medical center, and that was the first time, and on that ship is the only time I've ever been to a medical center on a cruise ship, and they were closed. So yeah, just mental note for you, the medical center on a ship is not open 24 hours a day, especially when you're in port. And I guess it makes sense because the people working there, they deserve time off too, and they want to go out and see the ports and stuff too, right? At that point, I could decide, all right, so what are my options now? Wait for it to open, go to a doctor on land, or just ignore it and go back to the beach. And I decided, long story short, I decided to wait for it to open. And actually what I did is I went back up to my cabin, and I took a shower, and I tried to spray water as hard as I could into this open wound to try to get, because it was full of sand. And I just thought, okay, there's so many bad things happening here. I have an open wound full of sand. It's still bleeding. I didn't feel like I needed to go to the emergency room. It wasn't that bad. And actually, after a while, it didn't even hurt anymore, to tell you the truth. And so, like I said, I was in the shower and I took the shower head. I think it was the kind, like a telephone that you can take down. And I was like spraying it in there as hard as I could to try to get all the sand out of it. And yeah, it didn't really work. And then I ended up just taking a nap. Sometimes the best thing you can do to pass time is take a nap. I went back down to the medical center when it opened again, and they offered me 2 different options. One of them is just to have a registered nurse take a look at it, and that cost, I think, and like I said, I don't remember exactly, so go and watch the other video if you want the real details. I think they said to have a nurse look at it would be $70, but then if she decides that a doctor has to look at it, then I still have to pay the full price for the doctor. And so I said, you know what, just give me the doctor, it'll be cool. And yeah, and then I ended up having a doctor look at it. And I went into one room, and by the way, this medical center on the Harmony of the Seas was very nice. It was like a full-on doctor's office with different rooms. There was also like a little surgery room, I know, because that's where I was a few minutes later. And it was very nice and seemed very professional. So if you're ever on a cruise ship and you need to go to the doctor and you're worried about that, don't be, at least if you're on the Harmony of the Seas. The doctor took a look at it, he pulled on it, tugged on it a little bit, and he said, yeah, it's sort of like borderline. We could just leave it like it is, or we could put a couple stitches in it. He said, I don't think the stitches are absolutely necessary, but if you're on vacation and you're going to be wanting to walk around a lot, I'm trying to think of the way he justified it. He said because of the way that it's cut, he's like that skin is going to be moving around when you're walking, and it's just going to keep tearing and everything. And he said, if you were like at home, then I'd just tell you, okay, well, just no stitches and just try to walk as little as possible for the next few days. So we decided together, or he told me, Actually, I think what happened was he said, stitches or no stitches, we're going to have to clean it out because there's a lot of sand in there. And he's like, and it's going to hurt really bad. And I was like, well, great. So we went over into like the operating room because he said that's where would be the best place to do that because that's where the best light is. So we went over there. A nurse came to help. It was like a little surgery right on my foot there. And originally he said, he was like, all right, I'll make the suggestion that I'll try to get everything out of there like in 10 seconds. And he's like, you're going to have 10 seconds of really intense pain and then I'll be done. And I was like, well, all right. So he tried that and I had the 10 seconds of intense pain. And then he's like, no, sorry, this isn't going to work. I'm going to need to do more. And once again, I was like, well, great. Then he offered to, I think he was like Novocaine. He's like, I'll give you a shot. He injected something directly into the wound that was supposed to numb it, and it didn't really. And it was also at that point where he was like, and you know what, I think it's better if we just put a couple stitches in here because now that I've been playing with it, I see how much skin is actually hanging there. And I was like, well, all right. So I ended up getting 2 or 3 stitches, I think, on a cruise ship on St. Thomas. And that's my story. If you're wondering, in the end, I think it cost me a little over $300. And I know in the comments to the original video, some people have been saying, that if they were going to go to like the emergency care or emergency room in their country, wherever they are, that would be a pretty fair price. And I've never had an experience like that before, so I really didn't know how to judge it. And here in Germany, my insurance covers all that stuff, so I've never had to like pay those expenses out of pocket. Yeah, lesson learned, I guess. I learned a lot of lessons from that experience. First of all, if you go to Magen's Bay, take your water shoes with you. Second of all, going to the medical center on a cruise ship, if the ship is in port, might not be the fastest option. What else did I learn? Getting stitches in the bottom of your foot hurts like a... And taking a nap can be a great way to pass some time. And now comes the time on Sunday Sofa Time where I comment on your comments live on air. Last week's Sunday Sofa Time was another live stream that I did to celebrate passing 10 million views on YouTube. 10 million views. And these comments are relating to the subjects we talked about in that video last week. The first one I definitely wanted to read is from Melinda Swisegood's Melinda's Vacations. She writes, first, congratulations. Thank you, Melinda. Second, for the person asking about traveling as a single female, there is a company called Women Traveling Together, which is www.women-traveling.com or women-traveling.com, who specialize in single female travelers. They go all over the world depending on which itinerary you pick. This is why I love making these videos. This is why I love commenting on comments and stuff like that, because I don't remember who it was who was asking in the live chat about suggestions for being a solo female traveler, but here is a perfect answer. Thank you very much, Melinda. The next question is from, or the next comment is from Jenny H. Jenny H writes, Dilly Dilly is from D&G Explorers, not cruising with wheels. Well, sorry about that, and hi D&G. I haven't talked to you guys in a while, but I hope you're still out there and having a good time. Dilly Dilly was something on a Bud Light commercial, and that's all I know about it. I love both of those channels, by the way, along with Morgan. Thank you, Jenny. Final comment is from The Gaming Text. The Gaming Text writes, not many cruising YouTube channels have as many subscribers as you do. Really? I have like 38,000, 39,000. I feel like there's a lot with more than I do. I don't know, actually. The only cruiser I know with more than 100,000 subscribers is Jim Zim. And I actually don't know if I've ever watched a video from Jim Zim. However, he gets a lot of his views with his water slide videos of the newer NCL ship. I believe in you. Well, thank you. And if you want to see water slide videos, then keep checking back because I just on Friday, so like 2 days ago, posted the first video from the MSC Meraviglia, and there's going to be a lot more videos about that ship coming up here on this channel, including the water slides, which I got videos of for you guys, even though it was pretty cold. Thanks everybody for spending this part of your Sunday with me, and I'm looking forward to seeing you here again next Sunday, as always. Check back on Friday for the next travel vlog from the MSC Meraviglia, so, wait. Thanks everybody for...